Those who wear their hair long are influenced by two different groups of people. The first are the Eastern and Oriental mystics who wear long hair and beards and are most exemplified by the image that every hippie has seen of Jesus in the picture in the family Bible. The other has to do with the American West. And in the last 3 months in the Haight-Ashbury, the costumes are changing to buckskins and Indian garb. Many of them are very interested in the American Indians, not only because the Native American Church has a mind-expanding drug as the basis for the peyote cult, but also because the Indians are noble and idealistic and live close to nature and are able to get along on very little wampum and still have a good way of life. So many of the hippies look to me like the pictures of Buffalo Bill, and others look like the Chief Sequoia. And all I have to say is that I enjoyed playing cowboys and Indians when I was a kid very much. I'm a Negro and have no interest in the hippie movement at all. I should perhaps say parenthetically at this point that hippies are almost 100% white, and that the Negroes in the Haight-Ashbury do not take very kindly to them at all. As one Negro leader put it in tones of unmistakable bitterness, all we want for our people is what these kids have given up. And the threat involved in that someone is already prepared to give up the very thing you're trying to achieve for yourself, along with the implication that they have the very unfair advantage of being able to leave the Haight-Ashbury and go back to those comfortable middle-class circumstances anywhere, has really not endeared them to the Negroes who were there before the hippies came and will probably still be there after the hippies leave.
See, we're not concerned with the drugs, although we're labeled in the public's mind perhaps as drug professors or people who are pushing LSD. We're not concerned with the drugs. We're mainly concerned with man's head. How can we use our own head? That's our personal search, because I know I don't use my brain. And how can we pass this information on so other people can use their heads? So when people say, what's the use of LSD, I translate that into what's the use of my head, and that's a fascinating problem. Yeah, suppose man can use more of his brain. What's he going to do? Make more money or build faster cars? LSD research, far from settling or answering anything, just raises new paradoxes about where man is going as a species.
Babylon, city and Washington, as we go now, they all go down that dirty road, and who's gonna help them with the load?
Food will be cafeteria style, no big...
You mean, is the food included in this?
The food is definitely included, 3 cafeteria style meals a day. And if you don't like cafeteria food, there will be a special be having big name rock bands with a light show, and they're going to be playing all night. Plus, we're going to have pipe music throughout the day on the ship.
$150 is a really good price, but I heard there were jobs, so I could even reduce the price further.
Correct. We are offering jobs for people that are traveling on our ship, And this also is going to this also helps bring the cost down. We will not have to pay people to swab the decks. We will not have to pay people to paint the ship. We will not have to pay people to work in the kitchen.
I see.
All the people on board, it's kind of a cooperative thing.
And the $150 is one way, isn't it?
The $150 is one way and requires a $50 deposit, and it's $300 round trip, which require a $100
Are
deposit.
you going to make only one sailing?
No, we're going to make 16 one-way sailings, or 8 round trips, starting the 1st of June, and our last sailing will be the 22nd of September from Southampton.
What kind of accommodations are there?
On board the ship?
Yeah, right.
It's strictly third class. There will be 6 to a cabin, and there will be no first class. Just strictly third class all the way.
I see.
What about taking, what kind of baggage can you take?
Yeah, how much baggage?
You can take anything you want as long as you carry it on board yourself.
Oh, in other words, there's no baggage storage or something.
can't
There
ride
is
your
baggage.
cycle.
If you want to bring a motorcycle, you will have to wheel it on board yourself up the gangplank, and then you will have to take it down on the hold.
Oh, I see.
The hippies of the Bay Area have already become a tourist attraction like the cable cars and the Golden Gate Bridge. If a young East Bay entrepreneur has his way, they're also going to become big business. We'll see how after a word from Pan American. Steve Metz is 19 years old and lives in Berkeley, and he has an idea. The idea is to take hippies to Europe and back for $300, $150 one way. Most people have a vision of the hippie life in which it's one big orgy of sex and drugs. Is that the sort of thing you have in mind?
No, we don't have that in mind. Actually, hippie life is a free life, but it's not necessarily an orgy of either sex or drugs.
Now, how does the sales pitch go that you give your clients?
Well, we tell them about the trip, we tell them how much it costs, we show them the comparison between other ships and this one, and we also explain that there are no rules and no chaperones, so that there's not going to be someone standing over their shoulder all the time making sure they brush their teeth in the morning.
Do you think hippies are coming to the point where they're economically important?
I think they are. I think they're economically, politically, and every other way growing more and more important each day, because they are growing in number as well as in thought. And the country is swinging around to their way of thinking slowly but surely.
The ship that they have in mind is going to cost $1.5 million. Right now it's called the Ariadne, but Steve plans to change its name suitably enough to the Lark. This is Jim Anderson. This has been the Feature Report.